Hello, dear friends, damnation, happy new year, and welcome to 2025 on the Danielle Moodie Show. It seems fitting that the new season of the Danielle Moodie Show would kick off on January 6th because America, right? And calendars. And, it got me thinking today, 4 years ago, where were you? I know where I was. And I wonder if the generations to come that were not present on that day will ever actually know about what happened on January 6th, 2021. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Danielle Moodie Show. Welcome back. Welcome back. How was everyone's holiday break? I hope that you return rested and recharged as I am after 2 weeks away of not paying attention to the news. I feel like I might have aged backwards because coming back today, for my first full day of recordings, I hope that many of you have joined me and Wajahat earlier today for our first Monday, democracy-ish, where we, ran through the news. I got to tell you that not paying attention, this is why they say ignorance is bliss. I truly believe that because after a full day of going through the news, I'm exhausted. And Donald Trump is not yet president. So what does that mean? But here we go. First off, like this headline, I think, wins the week, and it is only Monday. He got away with it. Donald Trump instigated a violent attack on the Capitol. In 2 weeks, he'll be sworn in as president at the very same building. This is a headline from the Rolling Stone, from Aswin Susang, and it is just apt because he did. There is no way that we are sitting here on the anniversary of January 6th when this happened at our Capitol building, where we all watched with our own two eyes Donald Trump point to the Capitol building from the ellipses and tell his armed supporters that he knew were armed to go and take their country back. I posted a short earlier today, and under it, I had some trolls that said, "What is this woman talking about? Donald Trump said to do things peacefully." Are you stupid, or do you think that the rest of us are? Because I know what I saw. I know what I heard. And nowhere did Donald Trump say to do anything peacefully. Because if Donald Trump had kept his sycophant followers at the ellipses and let them yell and chant and do whatever it is, Donald Trump would have been well within his right. He organized a rally. He has the right to assemble based on the Constitution of these United States. But when you pointed at the building after being told by your staff that these people have weapons, and you said, "I don't care. They're not here to harm me. So let them through, take down the magnetrons." Folks, that's when Donald Trump became a criminal. Now, I mean, to be fair, he became a criminal way before that. But what does it say to you right now? 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, Donald Trump will be standing on those very steps, surrounded by members of Congress, surrounded by the current president and vice president of the United States, former President Barack Obama, former President Clinton, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. They'll all be there trying to project this image of normalcy in a country that has ceased to be normal since 2016. This morning, I talked about with Wajahat on Democracy-ish, Joe Biden's op-ed in the Washington Post that he dropped last night, where he said, we should never forget, right? This fraught day, January 6, 2021, but that we should be proud because our institutions held. Do the institutions look like they held to all of you? Because they sure as hell don't feel like they held to me. We have a Supreme Court stacked by Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell, where in July, over the summer, they gave Donald Trump absolute immunity so that in his second regime, he doesn't have to be hamstrung by those pesky things called laws. He doesn't have to worry, not as if he ever has, about following the rule of law, because they told him, bet, you're good. Do whatever you want. Shoot the person on Fifth Avenue. Shoot them on the fucking ellipses. Because you can say what? Do what the rest of law enforcement does. I feared for my life. It is a travesty. And it is a failure of our elected officials that Donald Trump is going to be the 47th president of these United States. You know, after 2 weeks away, I got into a very zen place, right? And I still, for the most part, am in that place where we have to understand that grifters gon' grift, criminals gon' crime, and that the rest of us have got to figure out what our resistance looks like moving forward, because everyone's resistance is not going to look the same. But the fact is that this country cannot be taken over by the oligarchs, by the aspiring autocrats without our consent. You know the saying that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent? Well, no one can force you to hail to the king, the MAGA king, Donald Trump, without your consent. So your resistance may look like running for office. It may look like donating to local offices. It may look like running for school board, city council. It may look like starting after school programs where you educate young people about their responsibility of being a citizen of these United States. It may look like setting up dance parties, dinner parties with friends, staying connected in real life to people so that they are less susceptible to the lies that are going to be inundating them from now until the end of this Trump regime. And I will say to you, dear friends, I am not convinced it will come at the end of 4 years. So I know that there are some people that are putting up posts calling this the beginning of Donald Trump's lame duck presidency. I'm not quite so sure. Because unlike the first term, Donald Trump has the absolute backing of all of the tech bro oligarchs. Bezos, Zuckerberg, Cook, right? You got the LA Times. You have AI. You have people that have bended the knee. You have Disney, who said, here, Donald Trump, here's $15 million for a library that will never be built. Because I don't know, what are you going to put in there? Maybe the flags that they used to beat the shit out of the officers on January 6th. Maybe they'll put up framed photos of their heroes in Trump library. But so as not to ruffle any feathers, Bob Iger over at Disney said, give him the $15 million. Setting the precedent that we don't have a free and fair press. That everyone needs to watch what they say, even if what they say is the truth, so as not to offend the MAGA king. Because Donald Trump told us, so no one should be surprised. In the afternoon of January 20th, when Donald Trump issues pardons for these folks, the ones that were actually scooped up months and months after they beat the shit out of police officers, defecated in the halls of Congress, urinated, spread feces. I mean, what kind of animals behave in such a manner? But Donald Trump told us that this was a day of love. It was a love fest. I don't know about you, but I don't think that my Valentine's Day cards come with a smear of shit on the inside. Just saying. But they want us to believe, folks. They want us to believe that this is all normal. And Democrats are a part of the normalizing of Donald Trump. When we had the ability to say that this kind of person with this kind of seedy, shady character should never have power, media outlets tripped over themselves to give Donald Trump wall-to-wall coverage. Democrats, in order to look like the adults in the room, did everything they can to treat Donald Trump with respect, to extend their hand across the aisle, only to have it spat on. So when Joe Biden says, oh, our systems have held, I'm like, with what? Dental floss and some scotch tape and a prayer? Because the America that we exist in now doesn't look anything like the America that I signed up as a public servant to work for on Capitol Hill so many moons ago. It doesn't look like the America that my family came to in the 1970s from Jamaica to build a life and a future for our family. It is unimaginable where we find ourselves today. But you have to understand that it takes literally two to tango. The Republican Party could not have done this without the assistance of Democrats and their fecklessness. So Joe Biden could have kept his fucking op-ed and would have done more to preserve our democracy and set together guardrails when you realize that the person that you appointed, what you thought was going to be an FU to Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump, Merrick Garland, as the Attorney General of the United States, when you knew that he wasn't going to do anything. But you said, oh, I'm going to show that the Department of Justice and the White House are two separate entities. So I'm not going to put pressure. I'm just going to allow this man to do absolutely fucking nothing. And you know what? You're absolutely right. Biden is a coward. because this is a man that waited until we had 100 days to go until the election to recognize that he couldn't win. And I wonder what would have happened if Joe Biden actually came in saying that I am this transitional president. I will not be seeking a second term. And so I'm going all the fuck in to secure our democracy moving forward because I'm not interested in collecting your votes afterwards. It's truly astonishing. And so when the Rolling Stone and Anna Swin published this today, it just hit home. He wrote, the Republican Party, conservative moveitarians, and Trump's unusually venal allies in right-wing media have spent years injecting propaganda into the American bloodstream, insisting that one little riot where a few people passed away was no big deal, and only the perennially out of touch still care about it. Instead of backing away from the abyss of Trump's brazenly anti-democratic visions of elections, influential conservative figures across the country and throughout the party's top ranks have spent virtually all of his brief post-presidency cementing his heads I win, tails you lose electoral philosophy into Republican dogma and practice. And the fact is, Democrats didn't do a damn thing to stop them. After the damage that Donald Trump had done from 2015 on, from when he came down that escalator until he lost the 2020 presidential election, you tell me what Democrats did to ensure that a figure like Donald Trump would never be able to seek office again. They relied solely on the voters. Oh, it was our responsibility and ours alone to get Donald Trump out of office. We did our job. We showed up in the middle of a fucking pandemic, stood in line for hours, and did the work of getting Joe Biden, a person that many of us did not want to be elected, into office. And while I will say, sure, Joe Biden did good things while he was in office, but if your legacy is going to be remembered that you were sandwiched between Trump 45 and Trump 47, how good of a fucking job did you really do? What did you put in place? How did you rouse the American people? How did you have us link arms, as Vice President Kamala Harris said on the campaign trail, instead of pointing fingers? What did you do other than sweep Donald Trump under the rug and just cross your fingers and close your eyes and hope that he wouldn't return? But even still, it was a year. And Donald Trump announced that he was going to be running for office again. Again, I say to you, where was Joe Biden during that time? Where was he on the phone with Merrick Garland saying, so, Houston, we have a fucking problem? This is the issue that I have, dear friends, with Democrats. And today, you want to think that what we saw with the Cybertruck explosion in front of Trump Tower was a symbol of sorts as to where America is headed? I can think about nothing more apt than this. This is today on the House floor. This is Nancy Pelosi in the circle on a fucking walker, That's our democracy. Hobbled, weak, because we have octogenarians, septuagenarians who refuse to allow their egos to be pushed to the side and allow for younger, passionate, thoughtful people to take over. And younger at this point could look like 60 years old, given what we're looking at. Let me tell you something. Oh, folks are in the comments. Oh, give her a break. She had hip replacement. I know what the fuck she had. The reality is that she is in her goddamn 80s. And instead of moving aside and pushing for an AOC to take the leadership reins, she decided to work behind the scenes to put in a 74-year-old man who is battling cancer to be the fucking ranking member of the oversight committee. Miss me with the bullshit about, oh, she broke her hip. Our democracy is hobbled and hollowed out because of egotistical people like her. I have followed Nancy Pelosi's career my entire life. I have been in awe of this woman. But the sign of a true leader, the sign of true leadership, is what I witnessed and we all witnessed this week with Simone Biles. Yes, the gymnast. Most decorated gymnast in the world, in gymnastic history, saying that for her to go back to the Olympics in 2028 would be greedy. And that there are other things that she would like to pursue. And do you know what people said in the comments after that? If only our elected officials showed such grace. So don't talk to me about giving Nancy Pelosi a fucking break. When I wanted her, when she saw who was being named as the squad coming in when she was still speaker, and instead of supporting those vocal, powerful, brilliant women of color, she made enemies of them. So when I look at Nancy Pelosi now, and I think about her esteemed career, understand that there is something that we all suffer from, which is called recency bias, where we remember and are more reliant on things that just happened as opposed to things that happened weeks and months and years and decades ago. So you tell me how you think that people are truly going to remember Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer and Jim Clyburn and the rest of them. People that stayed in power well beyond their expiration date because unlike Simone Biles, wouldn't let go and allow other people, younger people, the opportunity to challenge the system, to be in power, to move America in a vision that they are more in touch with than the Pelosi's, the Schumers, and the Bidens of the world. I mean, give me a break, folks. It is exhausting because, much like, I will say this, much like when relationships end, right? Like when marriages end, when people get a divorce, you can't just blame the one person, right? It's not just one person's fault when a relationship meets its end, unless there is extraordinary abuse, I'm talking about your average marriage ending, irreconcilable differences. It takes two people to create a marriage and two people to create a divorce. We have paid so much attention to the MAGA Republicans and to Donald Trump and to pointing our fingers at them, as opposed to the people who we elected to represent us, who were too busy playing nice than doing their fucking jobs, and too busy clinging on to these arcane ideas of the ladder and power and kissing the ring, than recognizing that they actually don't have their finger on the pulse anymore. That America has changed rapidly since they got into Congress and the halls of power fucking 4 decades ago. So, when I see this picture today, it is not the picture of power of Nancy Pelosi ripping up Donald Trump's State of the Union speech that became the most incredible meme. It's not Nancy Pelosi with the glasses walking out of the White House with the orange coat on after she destroyed their meeting. No, it's not. This is what the Democratic Party looks like now. Hobbled and weak. And refusing still to give up power so that a new, fresh perspective and folks could come in and take the reins. So forgive me for not giving a fuck about Nancy Pelosi's hip replacement, because this is our future. This is it. This is America under Trump and Musk. A fucking dumpster fire. Speaking of Musk and dumpster fires. So I have never seen a more insatiable, greedy individual than Elon Musk. It is not enough that he has a disgusting amount of money, $400 billion. I just want you all to think for a moment about what you would do. Okay, say all of your other needs are met. You have the house, you've taken care of your family, you've set up trusts, blah, 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 blah. $400 billion. And you know that, I don't know, 5 billion would revolutionize education in the United States of America. You know that 10 billion would set our infrastructure up, or 100 billion would set our infrastructure up for generations to come. What would you actually do with that amount of money? Elon Musk is literally a Bond villain. He is a cartoon villain sitting on mountains of money that he didn't earn. Elon Musk didn't create anything. He inherited a sick amount of wealth from his rich daddy and then bought other people's ideas. And somehow he's labeled as a tech genius, as if he created Twitter. He didn't. As if he created Tesla. He did not. The thing that he actually created, folks, is the fucking dumpster that we saw explode. You know, the thing the Cybertruck, the ugliest automobile that I think that I have ever seen in my life, that is non-functional. That's Elon Musk's claim to fame. But because of our obsession with wealth, we have associated an obscene amount of wealth with intellect. Instead of checking this man's power and thinking to ourselves, wow, if Elon Musk actually paid taxes in this country that he snuck into illegally and overstayed a visa, then I wonder what we would be able to put that money towards. If all of these billionaires who can't come off of just a portion of their obscene wealth in order to give back to the country that gave to them, as Mark Cuban has said over and over again, where would we be? But Elon Musk, oh, he's not done. He bought one president and he's like, what's better than one? But two or three? He is interfering not only in the UK, he is interfering in France and in Germany. Because Elon Musk wants to be, I don't know, the global president. He wants to solidify the oligarch to ensure that no one in any country, in any space, has a voice or say in their government, and that the rich continue to get extraordinarily wealthy while the poor, well, that he sees as replaceable, disposable, unnecessary. I mean, him and Vivek, what did they say over the holiday? Oh no, we need the HB1 visa because Americans are idiots. And they're fine with mediocrity. We need people that are smart, that are dedicated. We can't get that in the United States. It started the entire meltdown, right? Quote unquote, MAGA civil war. But then guess who agreed with him? Donald Trump. Elon Musk is a tumor on democracies. And he is going to gobble up every country one after the other because the world, friends, is his monopoly board. He has government contracts galore, protected interests galore, and all of the other greedy monsters are following suit. Throw Trump a little favor, throw him $1 million, and you too can get yourself a president. Or maybe you can buy yourself a senator or a congressperson. But this is how you set up a kingdom. This is how you set up the MAGA empire. So you look at this and you say to yourself, you know who had the ability to pull Elon Musk's security clearance? Joe Biden. You know who had the ability to pull his government contracts once he started interfering in our democratic elections? Joe Biden. But this is what they want to do. This is how they want to work with private industry. It used to be connecting with private industry in order to do what's better for the American people, not what's better for the industry. But folks, this is how it dies. It's not just because 7 million Americans didn't vote. It's because the corporations have decided that they're willing, more than willing, to sell out our democracy, our country, for a tax break because they haven't amassed enough generational wealth yet off of the backs of the working class and the poor. And by working class, I'm talking about folks in the middle class. How much is enough? Like, honestly, these people are worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Do you know that some days I go off in thinking about what I would do with that kind of money, and 90% of what I think about is what I can do for others. How I would revolutionize the education system. How I would make it so that we are creating technologies and investing in technologies that are going to sustain this planet moving forward. It never occurred to me when I got into policy that there would be people who got into this work not for what they can provide, but for what they can extract. It never occurred to me. And you would think, Danielle, how naive could you be? I was young and hopeful, believing in the power of government to help people. But there have always been the colonizers, always been those that don't look at a beautiful field, let's say, of wildflowers and meadows, and they think to themselves, oh my God, how beautiful. No, they think, I wonder what's underneath. Let's extract and destroy and commodify. It is extraordinarily dark where we are. And you're seeing signs everywhere of things crumbling, not just here, but everywhere. Just today, Justin Trudeau, who has been receiving backlash from inside of his own party, as well as absolutely falling poll numbers, has resigned after making a trip to Mar-a-Lago because basically Canada, if they don't find the right leader to be able to take on Donald Trump, they are going to be fucked. We're each other's biggest trading partners. But people have lost confidence. His own deputy prime minister and finance minister, Chrystia Freeland, here abruptly stepped down in a stinging rebuke of his leadership and stewardship of the country. Her resignation incited a growing chorus of voices from liberal parliamentarians asking him to step aside for the sake of the party and let someone else lead the Liberal Party against the Conservatives in the next general election. You are watching as those that rose to power on prominence, him nearly 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, are now gone. And they're battling against people that are supposed to be their allies. I'm not saying that Trudeau at all perfect any which way, but I'm saying you have to look at what the patterns of what is taking place around the world. And it feels as if the walls are closing in. So, you know, I have to show you this image. And I know it's going to be upsetting. But this is Hillary Clinton after receiving her Medal of Freedom, hugging Vice President Kamala Harris. And wonderful Instagram site, activist site, said this: Hillary Clinton should be finishing her second term, passing the baton to Kamala Harris this month. And I saw this image, folks, and it broke my heart because I would have loved a peek into the possibility of that world, into the possibility of that America. Because none of the grievances that folks have had about Hillary Clinton over the years could compare to what Donald Trump has done to this country over the last 10. Warhawk, this, I don't give a shit. All I know is that 43 presidents, then we had a blip with Obama, white men destroying this country, one opportunity after the next. I would have loved to imagine a country that would have seen the power and the possibility in women. But we won't see that. And to be honest, I don't think that we'll see it anytime soon. I don't actually think that I'm going to see a woman president in my lifetime. And that is depressing as fuck, because twice we came so close, and both times America decided on an adjudicated rapist and a 34 count felon instead of two brilliant women. This picture to me is heartbreaking because this could have been our future. This could have been the possibility. But instead, America said, nah, I'm good. And there's something that also happened today that signified to me the misogyny, the racism, the hatefulness of where we are headed, where we are, not even where we're headed, where we are, and just more of what is to come.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for your work. Thank you. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Okay, sure.
Okay. That way just a little bit. There you go. Thank you so much.
That was Representative Deb Fischer. Her husband, Bruce Fisher, was holding the Bible as she was getting sworn in. And unlike as what is decent, what is the norm, to shake hands with, to show some decency, right, with the Vice President of the United States, that son of a bitch decided that he was not only going to take his wife's moment that she earned, but that he was going to try and embarrass the vice president of the United States. And I will tell you that the only person who should have been embarrassed, the only people that should have been embarrassed, is Deb Fisher and her husband. Because they showed just how disgustingly classless, as Brian Tyler Cohen said, the husband of a Republican senator, and excuse me, I said she was a representative, Senator Fisher. The husband of a Republican senator just refused to shake hands or make eye contact with the vice president. The level of class you can expect from MAGA. And that pretty much sums it up, because they are classless. And as Hillary Clinton said 7 some years ago, deplorable. We lost that election by 1%. 1%. Do not let anyone rewrite history and tell you that this was a landslide, that this was a MAGA mandate. It was not. Joe Biden beat Donald Trump by 4 percentage points. Donald Trump barely beat out Kamala Harris. How do you not let people rewrite history? You continue to tell the truth, to share the truth, to uphold the truth. Because it is going to become harder and harder after Donald Trump is elected again. People are going to want to turn off news. They're going to want to bury their heads in the sand. They're going to want to comply and bend the knee to spare themselves and think that there is some way, if they just become docile enough, then maybe they'll be spared. But we know that Martin Niemöller poem, First They Come For. No one is spared inside of an autocracy. Not even those that are currently floating in the sphere of the autocrat are safe. So figure out over these coming weeks, over these coming years, what your resistance is going to look like. Because not only does MAGA have the courts, they have the media, and now they have the government. We still have the will. We can resist. And that is going to be our job moving forward. And it is going to be hard. But as history has shown us, it only takes a small group of people to decide that they can, in fact, change the world. Margaret Mead. We can be those people. Thank you so much, Damn Nation, for tuning in to the very first Danielle Moodie show of the new year. We have our work cut out for us here, friends, and I just want to thank you all so very much. One, for showing up, for showing out, for your comments, for your likes. I please do ask, as I will at the end of all of these shows, if you are liking these episodes, if you are liking this channel, please do hit the like button, hit subscribe and subscribe to the show. Drop a comment in the comment section, because all of it helps to feed the algorithm. And I am trying to hit, friends, 15,000 subscribers by the end of the first quarter of the year. And so if you're liking this, like it, comment, subscribe. And I want to say a deep thanks and appreciation to the folks who are offering up donations. I appreciate it so very much. As I say, this is independent media. We are building this from the ground up. Every dollar, every 99 cents, everything that you are able to provide allows me to continue doing this work, because that's what's funding the work that's getting done is all of you. So when you see that little dollar sign with the little sticker on it, you can hit that and you can drop in any amount of donation that you can spare. I appreciate it. It goes so far. So I thank you very much. And thank you to our incredible moderators who are holding it down, in the chat. Deb and Susan, thank you so very much for all of your support. We're back, baby, which means that the Danielle Moodie Show is live Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern. So I will be back here tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, and I hope all of you join me. And you know what? Bring a friend. Like, let's build out damnation. Send the link to a friend today. As soon as the show posts, send a link to a friend and be like, hey, I found a new show for us to watch. You can watch it live or you can watch it later. Let's build out damnation. 15,000 strong. That's our next goal. I appreciate you all so incredibly much. And yes, Town Hall Tuesday. Thank you, JG, for reminding me, is back tomorrow, where you are able to ask your questions at the end of the show. I do the show normally, and then at 15 minutes at the end, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes I go longer, you all are able to ask questions. So get your questions ready for Town Hall Tuesday tomorrow. Thank you all so very much. As always, power to the people and to all the people power. Get woke, stay sane, and in these extraordinarily dangerous times, dear friends, please stay safe. See you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. Bye.